Hello and welcome to Mountain Patriot Homestead. I thought today while I was visiting with y'all, I would be taking care of a chore so I can knock out two things at one time. So I hope you'll forgive me as I keep going back and forth here. But it's been a while since I've put out a video and I wanted to let y'all know I'm still alive. It's just been very busy around here, and that's why I hope you don't mind that I am taking care of something while I visit with y'all. So just welcome into the kitchen, grab you an apron, and let's get to talking. So today, what I'm doing right this minute, now this may not look like the most appetizing thing in the world, but what I am doing right now is I have had some leg quarters in the crock pot, not in the crock pot, I don't even know what I'm talking about, in my pressure canner. Yes, I can cook and can in my pressure canner. I cannot can in just my regular Instant Pot pressure cooker. So just to clarify that, I use my big Nesco canner to cook up 10 pounds of leg quarters at a time. Now the reason I do this, I don't know how long you've been watching this channel, but the reason I do this is I make the dog food for Pepper. Now for some of you it may sound very extravagant that I am using leg quarters to make her dog food, but the reason is because dog food out of the store, like we had always fed her for several years, from the time she was a puppy growing up, was just a store-bought dog food. Wasn't a fancy dog food, but you know, it was a little bit more nutritious, supposedly. But it just got to where it got higher than the cat's back. And, you know, I looked at the nutrition on there and I looked at the ingredients. And it's like, as it just kept climbing and climbing in price, I just could not see the point in continuing to pay such high dollar for something I could make at the house myself and know exactly what was in it with no preservatives. So that is what I have done for a number of years now, is make her dog food, and it's just very simple. I've got a video out there, maybe more than one, that talks about what I do to make this. It's just pretty much leg quarters and rice, and she does take a daily vitamin. She has a more health regimen than I do, so she takes a daily vitamin, and then I make this chicken and rice for her, and it will last for several weeks, and she eats twice a day. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just, I've cooked this up, and now I am fixing to get it ready. Once I get this all out of here, I'm going to let it cool off for a few minutes before I debone it. Yes, I debone it because I don't want her getting any of them little sharp bones that are, you know, there on them legs. That's got that little, what I call a needle bone. I'm sure there's another name for it, but it looks just like a little needle, and I certainly don't want her getting choked on one of those, so I'll take that out. But anyway, that's what I'm doing right now, and once I get this all out of here, then I'll put rice back in here with the broth and cook up the rice. And once it's all ready, then it gets added to the deboned chicken and gets packaged separately, put it in the freezer, and take it out as she needs a new package of food. So that is what I am currently doing. What have y'all been up to? Like I said, it's been a while. Been a while since I've been on here with any videos. I apologize. I know, everything I've read about making videos and having a successful channel talks about how you should have a regular routine and that you put out a video at the same time, either daily or weekly or whatever, but that it's at a regular date and time. Well, I'm terrible about that because our lives aren't that structured to where I know where I'm going to be every moment of it. As I've told you many times on here, we both still work full time, and we have the farm here that we take care of, and there are always things. And I'm going to show you in this video some of the things that we've been doing. So let me grab the rice and get it started. And while I'm doing that, I'll show you a little bit about what we've been doing just in this space of time that I haven't been here putting out videos. So hang on. Our weather in fall is much like it is in spring, where it is all over the place. The weather one day will be foggy and cold, and the next day will be sunny and warm. So we just never know what to expect. But on this particular day, it was cold and it caused some sniffles. So some chicken noodle stew, yes, I made it as stew because it's a little thicker. We wanted that to ward off any sniffles and any sickness, and it turned out wonderful. I love fall foods, and I got the last of the apples picked off the tree before our first frost, and I threw some of them and some of the grapes in the slow cooker, and I made some grape apple butter, some spiced grape apple butter, and oh my gosh, is that so good. So I'm definitely going to be taking some more packages of those grapes that are in the freezer that I picked and mixing them with the apples and canning up some more of that grape apple butter. That is just sunshine in a jar. I'm telling you, good stuff. And around here, our fuel is caffeine. So we have been going through the coffee on these cold days, these busy days. So I don't know about y'all, but a good cup of joe keeps us running. And once more, talking about the weather, we have had the rain. It came down, which we were blessed and glad to have, and hopefully we'll be getting some more of that real soon, because it's starting to get kind of dry out there, and we like to have our fires, but we can't have it because we don't want to catch the mountain on fire. And then we had our first frost, we've had a freeze, and all of that has led to spectacular colors and heaters being turned on because, yeah, we needed the nip out of the air. But that doesn't stop the outside work. We have been sawing logs as fast as we can get them and have time to do so because, yeah, again, it's that whole time thing. Now, this kid, it doesn't matter what's going on, she's gonna find time to play, and I don't mind the entertainment. This is my best buddy. And if she wants to play under the sawmill in between logs, she's welcome to do so. Now, I won't tell you what else I've been up to because, know a lot of y'all believe in waiting until after Thanksgiving, but just here's a hint. Yes, this is a thing. This is another thing that I've been doing around here, but I'm not going to share pictures of all of that just yet. But here's a little taste of what has been happening. And then, of course, some more coffee because our days are just not long enough and we've got to keep going. But, it is beautiful days. We love fall here on the mountain. All of us do. All of the animals seem to just have so much enjoyment when the weather starts cooling down, and these leaves are just spectacular, but we've pretty much passed our peak time and most of the leaves are blowing off now. As a matter of fact, I think most of the leaves have blown off into the pond. I was noticing that earlier, but it has been absolutely gorgeous. The animals are loving it and I'm loving it. So I've got the rice in the pressure cooker and got it set, so you may hear it making a little bit of noise here in just a little while. And I hope you just pardon that because, it's got to get done so I can get the rest of this finished. But right now I'm just deboning this chicken and getting it ready. But as you saw, we have been doing a little bit of everything. And we're still doing a little bit of everything, and until we fall over at the end, we'll probably still be doing a little bit of everything. But, right now, the weather, we couldn't ask for better weather. Honestly, I am a little sad that I'm in the house right this moment doing this, but it had to be done. But it is so pretty outside. So pretty. We had a few days where it was pretty nippy. We had a hard freeze. It got down to 19 one night here on the mountain. And it also, we've had several days where it was, 30s. But today it is upper 60s and supposed to be in the 70s, and it may even be 70 out there right now. I haven't looked in a little bit, but it's gonna be in the 70s for several days here. So we are taking every advantage of that we can. We have been off this week. This is our version of vacation. Most people take trips and go places and do things. This is our version of vacation. It is the opportunity to get some things done around here without having to rush. And, frankly, with it getting dark, it gets dark here this time of year. It's getting dark. I say dark. It is, the sun's going down by 5 o'clock. And so that means that by the time we get home from our away job, it pretty much, we have time to get home, dash out, feed everything. I mean, the chickens are already going to roost by the time we get home. And so that means that we really have to book home just to get things fed before they decide to bed down for the night. But, you know, us being able to take off, I'm sorry, folks. I know some of y'all are going to cringe, but I have to get in here with my hands because I have to be able to feel those bones. So, excuse me, I'm diving in. But anyway, yeah, we took off this week. We had plans. We were going to go camping or, you know, that sort of thing. Well, of course, we don't usually. Our plans usually do fall through. Rarely do we actually go do anything because we just have things around here that we try to keep caught up on. And frankly, we like it around here. We like big. That's one of those little bones I was talking about. You know, we like spending time here. That's where we're comfortable. And so this is where we used to come for vacation. So taking a vacation from our vacation place is kind of, I guess, kind of silly anyway. So this is where we used to come, and this is where we enjoy it the most. So, you know, we have been getting caught up. I say caught up. We'll never get caught up. But we have been doing some things that needed doing. The chicken house is winterized now, but it's fixing to not be. And what I mean by that is some of this wood that we've been cutting is going to be used. We're going to re-side the chicken house. We're redoing the chicken house. It's old. And we just need to get out there, and we're just going to use that wood and re-side the chicken house. And not only that, but we got a wood stove, an old wood stove, you know, one of the kind that has like the little burner on top, not a regular cook stove, but a heating stove. But it does have a spot where you could put a kettle on if you wanted to. But we're not going to use it for the house. Originally, the thought was, well, we could use it. We're thinking about, and we're going to at some point, redo my greenhouse and kind of weatherize it a little more where I can use it all year long. But we got it home and have taken a look at it and been working on it. It also came with an old kettle, and it's one of those, you know, that humidifies the room. And we've been out there working. We put a new gasket. Sorry, that's my husband's phone's dinging. But anyway, we got out there and put a new gasket in the door of it. And my husband knocked off some of the rust off of the old kettle. And I got it seasoned up. And, you know, it looks so much better. We've got to do the same thing to the stove. But we got it out there today. Sorry, got the hiccups. Got it out there today and got it, little fire built in it just to make sure, you know, it was drafting good and all that kind of stuff. And it's doing fine. But, you know, just yet another project. Always projects. We've got more logs that we've got to get cut. I think we're doing some of them tomorrow. We've got some Christmas gifts that we're making. We've got to get started on those because, you know, these holidays are rip-roaring up on us. So we've got to get those done. And, you know, just the everyday things. This evening we're going to be moving. We've been moving goat houses around, and we've got to get another one moved this afternoon because we're rearranging. We're going to put all the goats back in together, so that way, as far as being able to heat and keep their water thawed and all that sort of thing, we've got all of that going on. Got to get that done. think I'm throwing things in the wrong pot because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Y'all don't ever do anything like that, do you? I'm sorry. My husband's phone, once it gets to dinging, it just keeps dinging. But anyway, that's the kind of stuff that's going on around here. I do plan on putting out more cooking videos. I hope to do several of those here pretty shortly. Maybe not today. I don't think, sorry, but I don't think I'm going to have room in the schedule for it today. But tell me, what type of recipes would y'all like seen made? I've noticed, and it's kind of funny, I've noticed that just within the last couple of weeks, my water pie recipe is getting so many views again. You know, it slacked off and nobody had watched them, and then all of a sudden, you know, the views on it are just spiking. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, I would think that everybody that was going to watch a water pie video had already seen it, but apparently not. Some people are still watching it, and I'm so grateful that they're commenting on it and letting me know. And I just want to, since I mentioned that while I'm thinking about it, please, if you have comments, please leave them down below. Now, I would ask that your comments be respectful, and I don't mean to me as much as I mean to everybody else, because, you know, sometimes people have valid questions, but they're scared to ask because they're afraid of what people are going to say. I don't want people to feel that way here. If you have a valid question, now if you have a question where you're trying to be a horse's tail, well, just keep that question to yourself. But if you have valid questions or comments, by gosh, I don't want you to be afraid of asking here. I mean, that's, I want you to feel like you can ask, and that's okay. But, I was just wondering what kind of recipes do y'all want? I don't know, holiday recipes. Do y'all want, I'm seeing a lot of what people are labeling on different things as struggle recipes. You know, making do with what little bit you got and that sort of thing. Well, you know, that's, to me, that should be just about any time. I don't care if you've got $1 million in the bank or if you've got 5 cents in your pocket. I think that knowing how to get by with what you got is always a good skill to have. Because you never know when that time, you could have $1 million in your pocket today and that $1 million be gone tomorrow with just the right circumstances or wrong circumstances, however you want to look at it. So, you know, is it struggle meals that you're interested in seeing? Is it just old-fashioned recipes like Mama and Grandma would have made? You know, is that the kind of thing? Maybe you don't want no recipes at all. Maybe you just want to, you know, want to visit or want scenery or, well, you know, what do you want? I know I ask that every once in a while, and the dear people that I have on here, y'all are so sweet to me. Because you're always, oh, whatever y'all want, you know, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to talk about. Well, I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you. And, you know, I know I say this, and have said it before many times from the very beginning. These videos were originally made, and still are, as a legacy for my sons. And I just want to say how proud I am of my boys. Now, I know everybody says this about their youngins, but yesterday was Veterans Day, and I just have to say that I have 3 of the handsomest veterans that any mama could have, and I love them very much. And I am extremely proud of the fact that they have served their country and that they grew up, bless their hearts, even despite my my fumbling and bumbling, they grew up to be fine young men. And this channel is devoted to them. It is meant, like I said, as a legacy for them. And, you know, I ask their input. But, of course, you know, my boys are like most of y'all will say, whatever makes you happy. We enjoy it. We like it. And so I do appreciate that. But just letting y'all know that sometimes I'll put stuff on here that I think that the boys might enjoy. And, you know, things that I want to pass on to them. Maybe it's something that I remembered that, oh, by the way, Mama used to fix this, and I'll make it because it's something I want them to know, and something they're all three fabulous cooks themselves. So it's always wonderful to be able to pass along things to them, and in turn they pass along things to me, because like I said, they all three are wonderful cooks. And I'm just glad that I can pick their brain when I need an idea about something. But like I said, every once in a while I'll just pop on to something that I thought of that, hey, the boys might like this. But don't ever feel shy about saying, hey, can you try this or do that? Or don't be afraid to, like that water pie. I've had several people recently that tell me they're going to do this or that with that water pie recipe. Now, I will tell you, that water pie recipe, I don't know, I don't believe in magic, so to speak, but I will say that somehow it is a very scientific recipe, and if you mess with it too much, it's going to turn into concrete. So, I can't tell you if you decide to replicate the recipe, but you want to put in, I don't know, apple juice, just because I can't think of anything else, in place of the water, is it going to turn out well? I have no idea. This is making noise. That's what you're hearing hissing behind me here. But, yeah, I can't tell you if it's going to turn out okay. However, with that being said, as I say in so many videos, your kitchen, your rules. If you want to experiment with something, I'm sorry, now I've got the bird yelling in the background, so it's always a zoo around here. But anyway, if you want to experiment in your kitchen and try one of the recipes that I share on here by making it your own way, by golly, you try it. And let me know how it turns out. But now, please don't get on there and go, your recipe was horrible. It did, it turned out terrible. But then you didn't tell us that, well, you changed 5 out of the 6 ingredients on it, and you changed the cooking time, and if you completely changed the recipe, well, was it the recipe that was terrible, or maybe it wasn't, the experiment didn't go as expected? Because I tell you, very few times do I get in the kitchen and cook something that, especially if I change something up a little bit, that it's going to go exactly like I thought it was going to. But that's okay, because there's a lot of times I'll get in here and I'll change things up and it'll go better than I expected it to. I think it was earlier today. I don't remember. It was either earlier today or yesterday. Me and my husband were talking about recipes, which is kind of funny because he doesn't care. As long as it's edible and it's stuff he eats, he really doesn't care how it got that way. So, but anyway, I was telling him that yes, that the smoked cornbread dressing that I made last year, and there's a video about that smoked cornbread dressing on here. Just go in there and look it up under the cooking playlist. And anyway, I smoked, it's my mama's recipe for cornbread dressing, which is the only recipe that I will use because, frankly, I think it's the best. And so I always use her recipe for cornbread dressing. Well, last year, I decided I was going to try it smoked. And I got out there on the grill and fired up that pellet grill and smoked that cornbread dressing. And I'll tell you what, if I have a choice and the smoker is operating, I won't make it another way. That was so good. But that was a complete experiment. I had no idea if it was going to turn out okay. But it did, and I was extremely happy with the results. And so, yes, this year I will be firing up that smoker, and I will be mixing Mama's ingredients together, but I won't be cooking it in the oven. It's starting to count down now. I'll be cooking it out there on that smoker. So, you don't hesitate to experiment in the kitchen. Baked goods, pastries, and things are a little bit more difficult to experiment with. I'll admit that, because you start messing with them too much, and you'll end up with those Ellie Mae biscuits that turn into hockey pucks and things like that. But, at least if you experimented, if you had an idea and you tried it and it didn't work out, well, that was a success as far as it told you, don't do that again. So, really, very few things have I ever fixed that were totally inedible. Now, there are some things, I'll tell you what, usually if I make a mistake on something, it's if I got a little bit too much salt, and I say a little bit. If I get too much salt in something, I'm not a huge salt person, and that's funny because I love pickled stuff. But I don't want things that are hugely salty. If they're tremendously salty, I don't want it. And so anything that I have made that has just been horrible, that I didn't like, was when I accidentally put too much salt in something. And that's very, very few things. I'll tell you, I've had things too salty more at a restaurant than I have at the house, and you know how bland restaurant food can be at times. But anyway, I do have a number of recipes. I'm always gathering recipes. Far too many. I don't know if you can see all of this back here. That's all a stack of recipes that I've been looking at that I plan on trying just any time now. I had some other recipes that I was going to share with y'all, and I ended up cooking them, making the recipes, but I didn't end up filming them. So I apologize, but if they were good, I will come back and do it again sometime and try to get it recorded and share with you. But anyway, again, the holidays are coming up on us quickly, and if you have ideas of something that you would like me to try to fix on here, or what you think, I'm always open up for ideas. Now, again, I may not get to it, so I promise that I'm not ignoring you. It's just sometimes I don't have enough hours in the day, especially when we're working. at our away job. So I am just going, I've about got this meat knocked out. I appreciate you making this an easier chore for me, because things are always easier when you do it with friends. So I appreciate you making this job easier for me. And I'm just going to wait on this rice to get through counting down. And I'll add it in here and get Miss Pepper some future meals made. And she's always all for that. She don't mind that at all. But until next time, I do hope that all of you stay healthy, happy, and that you know that I love you. And please come back again real soon. Mountain Patriot Homestead, signing out.